Welcome to Liberty Free to Be, the podcast that celebrates women finding their voice, their confidence, and their own version of freedom. I'm your host, Rachel Peru, speaker, model, storyteller, and a champion of showing up as your most unapologetic self. Each episode, I sit down with incredible women who share the real, powerful, sometimes messy stories that shaped who we are today. So settle in. This is your reminder that you are free to grow, free to change, and free to be fully, fabulously you. Hi, good morning. Welcome back to Liberty Free to Be. Hope you've had a good week. What have I been up to? I've been in Athens for my first modelling job last week, which was great fun and not as glamorous as you think. Arrived torrential rain and taxi strikes, schools closed. I've never seen it rain like it. So not quite as warm or sunny as you might imagine, but I suppose it is January. But it was a great job and it was good to be back to modelling. So that was last week. Back to the podcast. I am absolutely loving being back. I can't believe how much I've missed these conversations. If you are enjoying the conversations, please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, share with friends that you might think would benefit from listening to these conversations, because the more we can spread the word, we can help elevate these women's voices and really make a difference. This week's guest is Sophia Cook, and if you don't already follow her on Instagram, please go and do so, because her feed is just full of joy. I love seeing her dancing in her kitchen in her brightly coloured clothes. She always puts a smile on my face. So I've been dying to find out more about Sophia and what led her to where she is now at this stage of life. She shares amazing content, lifestyle content with her family, with her husband Cookie. She's got such a great sense of personal style and sharing those feel-good moments as well as the realistic life and keeping it real and what's going on, because not every day is a good day. And if you are a big fan of interior design, her house, her Edwardian house that her and Cookie have renovated, is just stunning and full of inspiration. In fact, it appeared on George Clark's Old House New Home programme, and she has done a beautiful job of creating a really, truly wonderful home. So lots to talk about with Sophia. Go grab a coffee and enjoy. So welcome, Sophia. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
It's one of those things, isn't it? Online, I feel like I know you. I know we've met briefly in person once, but I feel like I already know you. So I'm excited to talk to you today.
Thank you for having me.
No, pleasure. So, as I said in my introduction, you bring me so much joy on my social media feed. I absolutely love seeing your dancing in the kitchen in your bright, colourful clothes. But how long have you been having this kind of online presence? Where did this start?
So it started, I'd say, well, firstly, I remember when Instagram came out, and I think the following day I joined up. So it's about nearly 12 years ago. I was in my office, I was in a basement, and I signed up. And back then, Instagram was very much like, here's a cup of coffee, here's a picture, etc., etc. So I've only been really using it like this for the last, I'd say, six years, 6 or 7 years. And I love it. I really do love it. It's very expressive. I'm the most creative I've ever been in my life because of it. And yeah, it's just given me a real sense of freedom, because it's a place of work for me now as well. It's a place of connection, and it just seems to have pivoted around, and it's pivoting again. But yeah, I think it's ultimately changed my life.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I know social media gets a bad rap, but actually, I wouldn't have connected with people like yourself. And it,
Mhm.
it is about curating your feed and making sure that you connect with the people that genuinely bring you joy and that you find
Yeah.
interesting, and creating your own feed. How confident have you? Because on camera, you always look like you're uber confident. Is that always been the case, or is this something that you're having to work at?
I think, if I'm completely honest, it's always been something that I've had to work out. And I'm not ashamed to say it, that there's been different highs and lows in life, but it's a case of just rewiring my brain, essentially. I guess I'd have to kind of go back in order to make it a lot clearer, to your community and audience. So I'm not, I guess I am a Londoner, but I wasn't born in London. I've been here for nearly 24 years. I come from a place called Bucks, and I moved to London primarily because when I was living my family home, my mum passed away, who essentially when I was 22, and we had such a strong relationship. And I found it very difficult to remain in the hometown because
Mm,
there's just so many memories. And because I'm the youngest of four, everybody else had by that point had left. And I found it very difficult. I had been coming up to London and I was helping to run nightclubs. So there was a certain level of confidence about me then, but I feel that I kind of became my own person. It was a part-time role, and it was for Kiss 100. So it's very much it was like loads of big parties, loads of big
yeah.
venues when clubbing was really massive. And I originally I started coming into membership, and then I was actually greeting DJs and making sure everybody's riders were completed. And I was living this amazing, sometimes sometimes quite like it was a great atmosphere, and also quite a toxic atmosphere, but you met so many different levels of people, and at the end of the day it was a job. So
Mm.
I was partying, but also I need to make sure people got paid, make sure the night ran smoothly, and I did that for on and off for a while.
That's certainly an introduction to London lifestyle, isn't it? At a young age.
It was great. And so I was meeting all these different people. I was meeting some like people that are really big in music now and in clubs now, producers. And so that really gave me a boost. But I actually like just I had to land on the ground running when I got to London.
Mm,
And even though I wasn't in a creative field, because that was a part-time role, I had to almost defend for myself. So what other coping strategies, whether they were good or bad, I had to exist in this fight or flight situation, and that gave me confidence. But it later transpired, when I can look back now, in terms of relationships, in terms of body image. It was I was existing in a place which I thought was natural, but actually it's quite toxic. So
right.
I'm having to unwrite that whilst nurturing and growing my family. So I'm a confident woman, but it requires a lot of talking. And I've been in and out of therapy, from grievance therapy when I lost my mum at 22, and then that kind of was okay. But then I lost my father, then I lost various other people. So it's been up and
A lot.
down. Yeah, and but because of that, every time I've had therapy sessions, I've got tools which I've had to develop for the last 24 years. So there are now healthy coping mechanisms and strategies in place. But I have to speak to myself every single morning and ground myself to like have the conversation with myself. So it's work in progress,
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
Confidence.
Thank you so much for being so honest, because people do tend to look at social media and people on social media and think, oh, they've got it all sussed, they've got it cracked, their confidence is just there. They don't have to work on it. And it is an ongoing process
Yeah,
where like
yeah,
you said, I think it's really interesting that whole thing about unraveling a lot of the stuff in the past and kind of getting rid of letting go of
yeah.
a lot of the stuff that we've carried for years. And there's something quite beautiful at this stage of life that we start doing that, I think.
Yeah, I think as well, because I think I've had to really look at like my childhood and my mum and what tools she may have been given. And there's no this is not I'm not trying to be negative towards my mum in
Mm,
any way, but she wasn't given certain the tools or resources. And for me, when I say resources, I don't necessarily mean like money, but even my ecosystem, essentially, of like friends, very very small. Even though
mm,
like you're on social media, you've got all like platform, no matter how big, you've got eyeballs on you. My system is quite small,
mm,
whereas my mum didn't have that. So when my dad left, and there was just her defending herself and her four kids, whereas I'm able to branch out and speak to people. And some of my closest confidants or people I've met online that I know that I can tap into and speak to. And it is, if anybody tells you that they don't have down days, or there's a sense of like toxic positivity,
mm.
they're talking a load of nonsense. You have to, it's something that changes. Life pivots all the time. You have to change with it. And that requires looking at your self-esteem, looking at your confidence, looking at your whys, why you do certain things, why you dress a certain way,
Yeah.
why you speak to your body in a certain way. So there's always a beginning for where the root of the cause is coming from.
Yeah. So when you say your why, what right now, what's your why on being online and showing up? What do you kind of hope that's because I know what I get from watching you and from following you, but what drives you?
I think there is, we have to be honest. There's several reasons why I use the platform in the way that I do. I'm at a stage of my life where I look back and think of all the times I was told no, or I couldn't do something, or I wasn't the right fit. I'm kind of doing that now. And I'm kind of suppressing those voices, whether they were met with me internally or whether people are telling me that I couldn't do this, I couldn't be creative. I was like being shoved into a box.
Mm.
So it's part of me that I remember somebody once told me, and I used to date this guy. He said that I wasn't conventionally pretty. And it's very unlikely that I would do any modeling. I've never really wanted to do any modeling at all, but I wanted to get to a place where I saw myself. So growing up, I never really
Yeah.
saw someone that looked like me that was on TV. Well, I saw a lot of women on TV, but their roles were very, as a general trope for a black woman. So you
Yeah.
either got a really aggressive or someone that was hyper elite, sexualized. I never saw someone with hair like mine. And so there was something about, in order to heal yourself, I think you need to see yourself. And if
Yes.
you can't find the thing that you can't see, then be the thing that you want to see.
Exactly.
And that sounds like a lot of weight to have it on your shoulders. But I think as a mum now, I need to demonstrate to my children. I have a son and a daughter that are 5 and 6. They have to, and it's different now because there is an audit trail. There is evidence. Like back in when we were growing up, there weren't smartphones, right? So
Yes.
our photographs are now degrading over time because they're disappearing, etc., etc.
Yeah.
So like there is an audit that my children will see. They will see what I'm doing. And also, as I said, I don't necessarily want that responsibility, but I know even if it's just one person that sees me and is like, do you know what? I really enjoyed your conversation about swimming and later life.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed your conversation about some days not feeling overconfident. And that's made me do X, Y, and Z. Because I think I was so desperate to meet people that had lost parents. I'm so desperate to meet people that had a toxic relationship with their body, that
Mm.
had eating disorders.
Mm.
I was so desperate to meet, and I couldn't. And I was alienated to feel that this was all happening to me. And whether it's a cultural thing, whether it's just a thing of the times, that I was brought up to not speak about things that were personal. Don't talk your business.
Yes.
Don't do this.
Yeah.
And
I'm
and
still
it's
told that actually. I think still
and
people are uncomfortable, aren't they, with it?
yeah, they're massively uncomfortable. And I think even if my mum was here today, I think my mum would be smashing it on the internet.
Mm.
But also there was like, if there was a level of abuse from a partner, you didn't talk about it. If you were having money issues, you didn't talk about it.
Mm.
And I find the more that I dip my toe in talking about certain things, because I'm never quite sure whether the delivery is right. So I just will get on and I'll just talk. But I know that somewhere somebody seeing it and making a difference. And I was so desperate to see or hear something to say, actually, you're okay. And maybe that's something, and it's something I know it's something I'm working on, because I'd never really had that parental guidance. And
Yeah.
at 22, you're still a baby.
Yeah.
And
It's a really vulnerable age.
yeah, and so I'm not saying that I'm looking to be someone, an agony aunt or something, but sometimes just seeing something and just hearing somebody saying, "Do you know what? I failed my driving test twice.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 47. I'm taking my theory test again. I love my body, but also I know that I want to lose weight because my blood pressure's high.
Yeah.
It's speaking all of these things, like, because we're very complex individuals. So I think being online for that reason. Second of all, work. I have, in terms of a career, and I couldn't tell you what exactly. Well, I can tell you what exactly I do, but from producing, working with brands and making ads, getting paid, and essentially when I get a brief in, I write a script.
Right.
Right, I write a script. I work on what I'm wearing. I work about how I'm going to shoot it. I work about doing the voiceover. And when I came to prior to my mum passing away, I did a theatre degree.
Ah, yeah. Wow.
Um, and so my main discipline was costume. Wasn't particularly good at making, but there was something about me that really wanted to be on the stage.
Mm.
When I was younger, I used to sing, not so well, but I was always wanted to get involved. And from an early age, I was told at school that I was too loud and perhaps I would do better like behind the scenes. I was told that, an education. I couldn't do art. I couldn't, if I want to get a job or be taken seriously, I had to work 10 times harder.
Mm.
And so this was like both externally and internally in the house. And so now I'm doing all of those things that I was told I wasn't able to do. I may not be good at some of these things, but people are paying me
Yes.
to put myself out there. And also being online. So there's the financial side, there's the monetizing and being able to be flexible around my children because they're young,
Yeah.
working from home. And when I came to London, I couldn't take a gap year. I couldn't do the things, the working creative industries where they would pay you zero money to work your way up. I had to go and have several jobs.
Yeah.
So this is the first time I felt safe enough to do that. And I've made financially, I've done really, really well. Not to say that I'm not very good with money, but I've afforded to do that.
Yes.
The complexity around it is that you never know when the next job's going to come
No,
in.
no, that's the roller coaster. That's the stressful
Yeah.
bit. But
And then you're chasing, but I get up and I think I get to do what I wanted to do at 22. Like, some of my days when if a brand comes back and they say, oh, the voiceover's all wrong. I secretly maybe want to be a voiceover
yeah,
artist and know how to use my voice. And I get to do that. I get
yes,
to do that. And I get to do it at home and I get to show my kids. And whilst I'm doing that, I get to maybe not say to my kids, but show to my kids there are different ways of finding a career. You'd like being academic is good, but if you want to get up on stage, if you want to do this, this is what we can do. And again, somebody somewhere could be thinking the same. The possibilities are endless. And it's not just, even though we are the platforms that we exist on, we all know that in life, youth is rewarded,
mm,
right? Everybody's like, oh, yeah. There are so many people that are in midlife going up that are doing like
I
huge
know.
things.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and
It's
it's
really
it is great
exciting.
to see.
It is.
It's really exciting. We got told, I was always told that there was a line, right? So you went to school, went to college, you got a degree, you got a mortgage, you got a boyfriend, girlfriend, you had a kid. And that for me was something that I was very like, had to follow.
Mm,
But then when mum died, it was like, I don't know what I want to do. And, I was married before
yeah.
and I was married to a really great guy. It was wrong timing, just after my dad had died. And I just said, I've got to get out because none of us are sick. We don't have kids.
Mm,
It's not working. But there is one thing I'm going to do is live my life.
yeah.
I'm gonna live it. So I'm off. We're getting a divorce.
You seem to be really good at following your intuition, though, because I've read the story about you and Simon, otherwise known as Cookie, online, and how tell us the story about how you met and how quickly that happened, because that's you following your absolute gut instinct on something.
I don't know. Well, yeah, it's my gut instinct, but I really fancied him. I really, really fancied him. And so basically I'd been on my own for about maybe about 8 years, but let's go back a bit. So when I moved to London, I was working in clubs. I knew that I wanted to meet a particular type of guy, right?
Mm,
And working clubs, you got the same kind of guys. They're either really, really high or really, really pissed.
mm.
So I then put an ad in the Evening Standard, classified ad, and it was like young, gifted, and black. Young, gifted, and black seeks fun times both in and out. Something really ridiculous. So I started doing all these like classified ads. This is how I used to date,
I love
right?
you. That's brilliant.
So that's how I met my first husband, right? So we met him in an ad. And then obviously technology changes. And so like apps were about. So I
Mm,
was doing this. And again, I was single and I was working like really long hours. I used to manage buildings and I just wanted to meet the kind of guy. So I had a list, a specification. And also I wanted to party. What is it?
mm.
I was living in my own flat. I'd just been divorced. So I was going through like dating and stuff. And I met two guys and one of them was like really toxic, really crazy, but the other one like devastated me. Like I was ready to uproot and so I said, I'm never doing that again. Taught
Mm.
my did like what's that thing where you buy credits to do different experiences? I learned burlesque, right?
Right.
I learned burlesque
Brilliant.
in six weeks, did a presentation, and then I started dating again. And I remember matching. I remember matching Cookie on a Wednesday, and I'm not. I like to talk, and if you don't want to talk to me over the phone, forget about it. And I said, "Look, do you want to meet up?" And he wasn't talking over the phone, and I was like, maybe he's being a bit sly and he's dating, but
Mm.
Simon's not the talker,
Mm.
right? And I met him on the Friday, and I was just like, "You're amazing! Like you are exactly what I'm looking for." And I went up to get a second round of drinks. I called my sister, and I was dating a guy as well, right? So I was kind of seeing this guy at the same time. So I called my sister. I was like, I've met the guy I'm going to marry, right?
Oh, wow.
She's like, no way. And then I called the guy, and I was at the bar. I said, look, I know we're supposed to be seeing each other tomorrow, but I can't do two dates at the same time. So I'm going to call it a day. He was like, I was really looking forward to seeing you. I was like, I just can't. He said, I met the guy I'm going to marry. He was like, I knew you were crazy. And I said, that's fine. He's like, you're going to tell him. I said, yeah, I'm going to tell him. He's like, well, if it goes badly, you can call me on the Saturday. So the next day, remember we went for steak in Shoreditch. And I said, do you know what? I really fancy you. I think I'm in love with you. I think I'm in love. And he was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, this is something really different. So then 3 weeks later, and it was on the anniversary. So my mum passed at the end of May, and I generally try and be out of the country or do something.
Mm.
And Cookie said, look, I know it's a hard time for you. Do you want to go to Spain? So we went to Spain. I was like, oh my God, I've met this guy, I'm getting married. And everybody thought I was being really stupid. So on the 31st of May, we got engaged. So
I just
we
love
went
that.
I don't know if I'd recommend it, guys. No, no. So 8 years later, we're still together. And it's not, let's be honest, there was a lot of lust, a lot of attraction. It was
Mm.
exciting. And we got married exactly. We met on the 12th of May. We got married on the 12th of May the following year. And then we got a dog. I left a really toxic job. We got a dog. We're trying to get pregnant, like all through honeymoon. We're like, let's have a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
And got a dog, Sausage, and then found out we were pregnant with our son. And we were doing this renovation. So we moved to a house.
Yeah. Talk about just throw it all in the pile at the same time.
So I was pregnant, and I had a flat in Catford, and we were like, we need to like move out. And so I was pregnant with our son, and we had our son, and then we moved into this house, and I was watching TV on the floor because we didn't have any furniture in the house. We were ripping stuff out, and it was George Clark's Old House New Home. They're like, we're looking for you. I was like, oh, okay,
Yes.
I'm going to apply. And then they came round, and they're like, oh, we'll follow you doing the nursery, one room. I said, brilliant, okay. And then they came back round, they're like, do you know what, would you consider doing your whole house? I was like, yeah, why
Yes.
not?
Yeah.
It's got a 3-month-old baby. Yeah, let's do a renovation. Let's speed it up. So we did that, and then September came, and we were in we'd had to move out because obviously there was a lot of dust, and we moved to the travel lodge. And I thought that we'd be there for a couple of weeks. We're there for like 9 weeks
Right.
in the travel lodge with Sausage, who had just come into her season, so she's bleeding everywhere.
Lovely.
And then I'm
And
in
you're
this travel lodge.
pregnant.
No, but I was holding out. But then I was being sick, and I was thinking that I was just being really stressed. I was pregnant again,
Ah,
so I was pregnant with our daughter. And then we had to do this big reveal of this TV program, The Builders, and so I was pregnant again, and then that brings us to 2020, and then 2020 was lockdown, and had our daughter in lockdown. So it was a very compressed. We'd just got married, just had a baby, done the renovation, and then we're stuck in this house that thankfully was mostly done.
yeah.
A new relationship. Was he going to be okay working? I had a friend that was really, really sick with COVID, and yeah, we made it.
Yeah.
We touch wood.
Yes.
We made it out the other side.
And
So
I'm guessing, in a way, lockdown, I suppose for you, that was a kind of time to really decompress because you'd got the
yeah,
house pretty much it was actually quite good timing in a way if you think about it, wasn't it? Because it took the pressure
Yeah.
off having to take on anything else at that time.
Yeah, and it was because, ordinarily, Cookie would have to leave here to get to work, to
Yeah.
get into London Bridge super early in the morning. And, after work, he might, and then maybe get home about 8 o'clock. And I'd had an emergency C-section with my son, and my daughter was an elective.
Mm.
But so it meant that he was here.
Yeah.
It also, it was a horrific time for many, many people. But for me, I just had another baby. And
Mm.
like 3 years ago, I was told that there was probably not going to be a chance of me having kids
Yeah.
because of age, because of weight. And so I had like this family, and I got my first ad.
Yes.
Someone said, "Hey, do you want to talk about your house? We'll give you £800 and then we'll give your husband a saw." I'm like, this sounds like
Yeah.
fun. And so, and by that, I was meeting other people, because it was just a case of finding a hashtag that,
Mm.
um, black mum in her 40s, or, lady that likes dancing in
Yeah.
her 40s. And you were able to find people, and everybody was online, because what else is everybody going to be doing during that time? So
Yeah.
it was a great time, but also it was a time where my body had changed, and a lot of things were done in silence,
Mm.
because you're trying to find out your community. And
Yeah.
so I think now the fog has certainly lifted. I always talk about a fog being lifted. Um, so now is a great time, but my body is now changing.
Yes, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm going to the gym straight after this conversation, Sophia. I am really trying to keep on top with being connected to my body because we
Oh
have no
God.
control over it.
Nothing. So I'm just like this, and I've just got to a point where I'm just like, and I haven't really spoken about this, only because I'm aware that there is a lot of sensitivity, and I don't really know how to. I don't really know where I'm at with it
Mm,
at the moment myself. And I'm not here to be a counselor. I'm not, even
mm,
though I've had a lot of counsel and a lot of therapy about it, but having had episodes of eating disorders,
mm,
to get to a place now where you're just like, okay, this is good. My body is just so amazing in what she's done,
mm.
and she's created life. And then to all of a sudden, like, be like, where's this period? And then all of a sudden the period comes, and it's just like, God, it's just someone's turned the heating up a little
Yeah,
bit. Do you know? And I hear there's lots of buzzwords about menopause, perimenopause, and I'm just like, nah, that's not me. Like, I don't know who if I think I'm some kind of superhero, but there is there is, because people are very quick to label things, and
yes,
there's a trend of conversations and what. But I'm like, no, this is no, the ringing in my ears, and the shot in my hand, and these like really heavy periods.
mm,
Like I'm 16 again, and just the gums,
mm,
the weight gain. Like, it's where am I? And my doctors are like, no, you're massive. Last year they were like, you're massively too young to even be talking about perimenopause. And now I'm going to be 47 soon, and they're like, yeah, absolutely, yeah,
yeah,
whack it
yeah,
on, whack it on. And I was like, what happened in the last 12
yeah,
months? So I'm just kind of there are many symptoms of perimenopause that's happening, but also I'm mindful that I have, my children are 5 and 6.
yeah,
My body has changed because I'm concentrating on, like, blood pressure, weight loss, exercise, cutting out food. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on.
yeah,
But also this could be perimenopause, but I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
started at 47 and it took me a couple of years. I would say even a couple of years before that, I
Yeah,
was just not myself at all. And it wasn't, I was 47 when they finally said, actually, yes, you really, let's get you on some
yeah.
HRT. Yeah, it's,
So it swings and roundabouts. So I've
yeah,
got friends that are on HRT, and one of them swears by it. The other one, it's been 8 months where they've got the balance right,
right.
finally.
Yeah,
But prior to that, she was in a really, really bad place.
mm,
I'm just like, I've just got over blimmin' sleep regression,
yes,
and like potty training,
yeah.
and getting to school.
You don't
Now it's
need
like,
this right now.
is this what we're going to be doing now? But it's great, because there are so many conversations.
Mm,
There are so many people. There's so many women talking about it. There are
yeah,
so many organizations that are like, actually, the government are talking about it. I didn't. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really know or hear about menopause until, like, maybe mid-30s. I was like,
Yeah,
"Not my problem.
yeah,
It's a long way away.
yeah.
It's not my problem." So it's good, but I'm a little bit nervous.
Mm, yeah,
I'm a little bit nervous because 'cause I've just caught up with myself and I've just kind of rewritten my pathways, which would ordinarily send me over the edge. I've just kind of been like, "This is good. You're where you're at."
mm,
But now, these emotions that I'm experiencing, I'm like, "Is this the fact because I haven't had sleep, or is this because chemically my brain is changing?"
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, who knows? Who
Yeah.
knows?
How important is your clothes then when you're having those moments of when you're really struggling and how important, because you always look fantastic. I love your style. You've got such a sense of fun and colour, and life about your style. But is that kind of part of an armour sometimes when you're struggling? Does it help?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so it's really weird because I think because being, and I've kind of leaned more into more color. My house is very colorful.
Mm,
My husband's always saying like color on black skin. What we doing? Because I loved wearing black. Right, I always used to wear black, and I still do. But I think it's important to try and wear the things you want to wear,
mm,
right? Because no one is getting out alive, right?
yes.
No one is. And people may look at you and be like, you shouldn't be wearing that. It's too short. It's too tight. But do I want to get to a place where, I don't know, maybe I'm less mobile, 30 years, or maybe something has happened and I don't have parts of my body that I had before, and turn around and say, oh my God, I wish I wore it,
Yeah.
Because, it's the age old thing when you look at pictures of yourself and you're like, I remember thinking, you were so fat that you can't wear this because we're trained, our
Yeah.
brains then, especially in the 90s,
Yes.
like, you're big, you're big, you're big. I look back and I was skeletal.
I
Like
know.
I had like my chest out and I wasted so much time wearing black
Mm,
with ribs showing. And that's because I thought that that was how I should look. So wearing color, wearing what I feel most comfortable in. I'm doing a resurgence at the moment where I'm on Vinted and I'm looking for Vivienne Westwood. I used to
ah,
love Vivienne
yes.
Westwood, but couldn't afford it. And so the requirements are: can I dance it?
Sorry. Carry on.
Sorry. The requirements are: can I move in it? Can I move in it? Can I dance in it? Can I run for a bus or a train in it? Because I don't drive, right? And I can get Ubers and everything. Um, and how does it make me feel?
Mm,
How does it and can I get out of it quick enough to go to the toilet? Because that's another issue. Um, you know, and so you've got to feel good in it. And I love wearing shapewear, like compression stuff, because I used to run a lot. So I used to wear a lot of compression, like tights and things to run in. And I enjoy it, but I don't necessarily wear it to like fit into things. It just gives me a sense of security. It's a personal thing because
yeah.
like I'm wearing one now because I don't necessarily want to wear a bra. Like
Yeah.
clothes, clothes, yes, are an armor to me, but equally, if we didn't have to wear clothes, I like being naked. I like
Mm,
being in several states of not wearing clothes, but I have to wear it because I'm going to get arrested.
yeah.
So, so yeah, they're definitely an armor. Lots of color, and yeah, and I think by going online, I kind of have a rule of thumb, unless it is unless I'm doing brand work that are very specific. When it comes to shooting and when it comes to wearing something where I'm a little bit like, oh, you can see my belly. Oh, I post it.
Yes.
I post it. I may not be happy with it.
Yeah.
I may not be happy with it. And it may make you feel comfortable or like a chin or a wrong angle. But I can categorically say, and it falls back into it's something, it's a thing that's in my therapy, I guess, is that I don't have any pictures, video of my parents or family, right?
Mm,
And so one of the things I do in the house, outside of social media, and I take thousands, I record my life on video a lot. Some of it is on for social media. Some of it is for my kids. Like I'm
yeah.
going to be doing a series for my kids, like How I Met Your Father,
Which is such a
because
beautiful thing to have as a legacy.
yeah, Yeah, because like no one knows in my family how my parents met. And
Yeah.
those that do know have died.
Mm.
And of course, you don't wait to ask your parents that, like, you're not asking these questions when you're 20, 21, because you expect you've got more time.
Yeah.
So one of the things when just showing up and just posting pictures, so we do the whole thing of like show your Sunday best, where we were quite very well curated, very like, and it's changed slightly because the whole reason why we started that in lockdowns because the kids were asleep and we wanted to dress up for ourselves and each other.
Mm.
But now I'm just like, actually, when I'm trying to find pictures or whatever, what I've got left, mum, it's not about the rehearsed wedding photos or
Mm.
it's the pictures where we're in action
Yes.
or something, because that's what I really crave for. I
Yeah.
really crave to just see me in my natural habitat, or well, my parents or like
Yeah.
siblings or cousins. So having this like audit or this like little diary that will be archived our social media somewhere, children could eventually tap in and be like, oh, this is, and it won't be the tidy kitchen. It won't be the poised pose. It'll just be me like showing my bits. And
Yeah.
if I'm restricting my bits all the time, it's not, what are the messages that I'm going to say to my kids? Do you know
Yeah.
what I mean? What am I going to send? And that is definitely my responsibility. I have got no responsibility to anybody else, but to my kids, I do not want them to encounter, and they will encounter downfall, they will experience loss, but I don't want them to ever think that the house that they live in, their body, is not good enough.
Yes.
I do not want to give them 15, 20 years of therapy of them questioning themselves or
Yeah.
questioning the people that they're with. Like that is something that I will not do.
Yeah.
So even if I'm uncomfortable, right? And my daughter's probably my biggest troll. Get at the bar. She's just like, Mummy, your belly's fat. You got a fat belly, Mummy. I said, yes, that's your house. And it's also the thing that you like snuggling up to every night. Right. And
Mm.
I said to her, look, fat's not a bad word. Being fat is like, I've got a fat belly, but I'm sure as hell I'm healthier than your dad. I'm fitter than your dad.
Mm.
And and it's not a bad word. And I'm teaching her now that she doesn't need to comment on other people's bodies, but
Yes.
fat bodies, small bodies. It's not necessarily about what they look on the outside. It's about your strength and stamina. And some people are comfortable in their skin if they can meet themselves, and they can be, because they are going to be like all different sizes, right? As
Yeah.
we all are.
Yeah.
If they can meet themselves and be confident in their own house, I will be very, very happy, because I know a lot of my issues, it may not be to do with how I look, but as a result has been it's been the nearest thing that I can take out on myself.
Yeah.
And that's my body. And it's a regret.
Yeah.
It's a regret.
Yeah, me
It
too. When
definitely
I
is.
look back now, when my kids were younger, there's hardly any photographs of me with the kids. I was always the one that was taking the photographs
Yeah.
because I didn't
Yeah.
want to be on the camera because I
To be
didn't feel,
seen. To be
to be
seen.
seen,
And,
which is
and it's
ridiculous now. And I'm so cross about it, but now I do everything I can to show my older kids that actually
exactly.
learn from my mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. And I always say, like, your future self will thank you for it. So all the pictures, like, we take thousands and we print them out. And I said, look, like, oh, Cookie, I don't like that one. But then as long as because I guarantee you, when it comes to our time and we're not here, the kids are going to be like, where's that picture of mum? And was there a picture of mum at the table? And they're
Mm.
not thinking, oh God, mum, you look fat there. Where's mum in the turkey? Where's mum on the beach? And so even if I'm not comfortable even if I'm not comfortable on holiday in a two-piece, I'm always in a two-piece, or,
Yes,
I'm out and about, because I'm showing my daughter, your mum is confident. And even if I am uncomfortable, my body deserves to be on a beach. It
yes,
deserves to see some sun. And so she is because it's really interesting at the age of 5 and 6, even though I try and not be a satellite mum and completely take over what they watch. Some of the things they come home saying from school, whether it's
mm,
from their peers or schools, like, we're already moved into boys wear blue, girls wear pink, which is
yeah,
not in my house.
yeah.
They're talking about six packs. They're
Well,
talking about six packs. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Oh, I really
yeah,
want a six pack. I'm like, a six pack of what? Cartons of sweets?
yeah,
Like, no. And it's really dangerous. So that is one of the biggest things for me, for
mm,
them to see me in a body that is strong, and will wear what she wants to wear. And yeah, it's really important,
Yeah,
really
such
important.
a strong message, so important. And also you're such a good role model to them because you're also showing them that you can evolve career-wise, you can grow later in life, you can take on new challenges. I mean, I know now that you're really starting to take your photography more seriously, aren't you?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's because again, that little voice in your head. I remember a teacher saying to me, various teachers, one of them was a guy called Jerry that told me my history started in slavery. Another teacher that said my pictures were really shit. That I shouldn't pick up a camera. And so like the technical, I'm not very technical, right? So I'm a very visual person, but
Mm,
I'm now with somebody who was extremely technical, my husband, and it's just like just pick up a camera and just like go out and take pictures because I
mm,
enjoy it.
yes,
And I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that I am like this photographer that knows about exposure or anything. I just know what I see, and often what I see I like.
yeah,
It's more the human side of it in interacting with people. And it's nerve wracking,
mm,
just walking down the road, taking someone's picture,
mm,
but also, photography. I use photography when, quite early on, I've looked back over the years. So whenever I felt that somebody was attacking me, whether it was an ex-partner in a way that, like your bum's too big, you never do this, I would actually arrange photo shoots, right? I don't know if I should be admitting this. So over the years, whenever and there's been some really toxic, horrible men that I
mm,
used to date that would um, they're abusive in a sense of what they would say.
mm,
I would go off and I would go and do a course on burlesque, or I would go off and
yes.
I'd be like, right, I'm doing a photo shoot. So I'd hire a photographer and I'd be like, I want to wear this. And I also want to do it outside and I want to get changed outside to kind of
That's so
rebuild
empowering, isn't it?
yeah, rebuild myself.
Yeah,
And I did a photo shoot where I orchestrated this, right? Where I used to love wearing latex. So
right.
I had a whole wardrobe of latex, and I would and somebody very kindly gave me his house for the day. And I employed a model as well. So I had a model and I had a photographer. And because this guy was so awful to me, and I felt really bad, I had a period where I wasn't leaving my flat. Right,
Mm,
I was like, "No, we're going to do this." And so I've got there's this the whole photo shoot of me in like this like latex, and I've curated this like thing.
amazing.
Somebody somewhere has got all these pictures, and I think it's really important whether you are the model or you're the photographer to have these images and to think that, this was a period where I felt
Mm,
really bad about myself. And so that's I want to encourage people, not just women, men as well,
yeah,
that if maybe it's something I haven't quite figured it out, Rachel, but maybe it's something where somebody that's always wanted to do, let's say, a lingerie shot, or
yeah,
somebody that's, somebody that wants a bunch of balloons and do like a nude shot. Um, I did when I was pregnant with my son. It was very difficult to exist in this body that was getting bigger,
mm,
and it was quite triggering for me. And so one day I was going through Instagram and I saw this most beautiful picture, and I think I spoke about it briefly, but I haven't really told the full extent of the story. So there was a picture of an artist that had very sadly taken his own life. So this photographer was showcasing this picture that
mm,
after the news this person had died. So I reached out to this photographer. I didn't know if he was in the UK or not. So and I just said, "Look, I love this picture. It's beautiful." Then I looked on his page and he did this moving portrait thing, right? And everything he was doing was they were naked. And I was like, "Hey, I really like this. And I know that you're looking for somebody. I want to do a naked shoot." He said, "You're pregnant." I said, "Yeah, I'm pregnant." And I said, "You're probably not even in the UK." Turns out he was down the road from me.
oh, there you
So,
go, it's meant to be.
so I called him, we did a FaceTime, and then that was on the Wednesday. On the Friday, I just showed up at his house. I was like, "I'm ready." And his girlfriend was there and a makeup artist was there. I was just like naked. And
Mm,
I've got it's my favorite picture of me. I've
yes,
got no clothes on. I'm huge. And then there's a moving image. And
beautiful,
I just really felt like this was one of my strongest moments.
yeah,
And so, yeah, so maybe doing some photography with people that don't see themselves enough that the ones that are taking the picture,
Yeah.
to kind of bring some element to it, but to support people
Yeah.
because I've been there too.
I'm looking forward to seeing how that develops because I'm sure that you're gonna do some amazing things with that. And it is so I've done a Nike shoes and it's the most liberating
Right?
experience. It really is. It's
It,
freeing.
yeah, very freeing,
Yeah.
very free. Do you have your pictures printed out?
No, I haven't actually. No, I haven't.
And
And
why not?
um,
Why not?
I don't know actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Print your
I'm
pictures
going
out.
to address
Have
that.
them everywhere. Yeah,
Yes.
print them
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. I shall send you a picture when it's up on the wall.
This is good.
Yes. Honestly, Sophia, I absolutely love talking to you. Thank you so much for joining me. My last two
Uh,
questions I ask all my guests. If you were to
yes.
pay yourself a compliment, what would it be?
Um. Oh. Um. That you're a good person.
Yeah. It's we are so. I ask everyone this because I really want to try and encourage women to take those compliments. And you are not the first person to have this reaction, Sophia. We find it so hard to compliment ourselves. So thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And my last question: what does free to be mean to you?
Free to be. Um. Free to be means um. free to be whoever you want to be. I think you have an idea of what you think maybe your parents think you should have been, or your partner thinks you should have been, people online think you should have been. But free to get up and say, actually, I knew I liked eating eggs on toast today. I don't want to eat eggs. I'm going to eat sardines. But you said you loved eggs. Like,
Mm,
well, I don't today. The freedom to do whatever you like, as long as you're not hurting anybody, but freedom to feel that you are worthy to do it. This is your life, and this is your one life you get,
yeah,
right? It's just the one life. So to think that actually I can be whoever I want to be and when to be. And that's something that is, oh, it's amazing.
yeah,
It's amazing. But there's lots of moving parts that allows that. But I'm feeling the safest and the most freest ever, because not necessarily what society tells you need to conform to, but in my head, in my house, in my
yeah.
body, I feel like I'm allowing myself some grace. Doesn't happen every day,
Yes,
but predominantly I'm like, do the thing, be who you want to be.
yeah.
That's what it means to me.
Amazing. Thank you so much for such a beautiful conversation. Honestly, I could talk to you for hours. So if you
Thank
don't
you.
already, go and follow Sophia at Sophia R. Cook on Instagram. You will not be disappointed. Just keep being
Oh,
fabulous because you are doing some amazing work, Sophia. And hopefully we will
thank
meet
you.
again in person this
We
year.
will. We
Yes.
will do, definitely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Take care. Speak
Bye.
soon. Bye.
Bye now.
Well, so many great takeaways from that conversation with Sophia, who really is the most beautiful person inside and out. Um, I think the fact that Sophia really is working constantly on showing up and being her true self, and confidence does waver, and it's something that will always be work in progress. But show up anyway, and don't let other people try and dim that light. I think that's such an important message. Be in those photographs with your family and friends. Make sure you are visible and seen, so that you can be part of what's going on, and you've got leaving that legacy. I really regret not being in all my photographs when the kids were little. When I look back now and try and find photographs of them, I'm very often the one taking the photographs rather than being in it. So I do regret that, and maybe that's it's interesting to see the work I'm doing now, because I certainly would have done it 20 years ago. So be in those photographs with your family and friends. Have photographs up around the house of yourselves and your family. Be visible and be you, because you are more than enough right now. And don't be scared on taking new channels of life, and what takes different paths. Keep growing and evolving, and like Sophia's shown us, she's now showing her interest in photography more and taking it more seriously. Who knows where that may lead to, but I'm sure we're going to have some fantastic projects through Sophia's photography work with people. Yeah, lots and lots to take away there, and I hope you've enjoyed this episode. Go give Sophia R. Cook a follow on Instagram, because you will not be disappointed. There is so much joy on her feed, and it's definitely going to brighten up your day. And keeping it real, I'll be back next week with another great guest. If you are liking these podcasts, please go and like and subscribe, share with your friends, share with somebody that you might feel like has benefit from listening to these conversations, because the more we can spread the word to lots of different women, the better. Let's create that positive ripple effect. So thank you for listening. I'll be back next week. In the meantime, keep being fabulous. Thank you so much for listening to Liberty Free to Be, and I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. If it spoke to you, please don't forget to follow, leave a review, and share with somebody who might need a reminder that they are free to be themselves. You can find me on Instagram at RachelPeru1, and don't forget to follow our growing swimwear brand community over at Liberty Free to Be. If you'd like even more connection and conversation, come and join our free Facebook group, the Liberty Lifestyle Hub, where over 300 women are cheering each other on every single day. Until next time, keep being fabulous.